Great. Please let me know if there is some technical hiccups in hearing me and in terms of my screen. So I'm sharing it now. Okay, good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Before I start presenting our experience on locally led adaptation from Nepal, I would like to express my gratitude to International Center for Climate Change and Development, ICC-CAD, and Independent University Bangladesh for organizing this fourth Gobeshona Global Conference and allowing us to present our experience from Nepal. I think this workshop is really important because it has provided opportunity to highlight locally led adaptation experience from across the world and related issues, challenge, and also way forward. So in line with the conference objective, we have prepared our presentation. So our presentation is based on project Nepal Climate Change Support Program experience. And today we are presenting this. So I'm Kiran Wagle. I'm team leader of Nepal Climate Change Support Program, technical assistance from Mott MacDonald. And my colleague Sirisha Adhikari, who is senior climate and water expert in Climate Change Support Program. So two of us are presenting this experience. So our presentation will cover the project background and then how this project has adopted locally led adaptation principles while selecting, implementing, monitoring local interventions. That's what we are going to present. The third topic of the presentation will be our intervention and result in line with locally led adaptation principles. And the fourth topic will include the monitoring approach of Nepal Climate Change Support Program. And this is linked with locally led adaptation principles as well. So at the end, we will have opportunity to discuss and also we would like to invite the participant if you can also share experience from different part of world or where you are working and promoting locally led adaptation. At the same time, if you have any question related to our presentation or Nepal based experience, we will be happy to respond them. So moving further to the presentation, as I highlighted earlier, so this presentation is based on Nepal experience. And you must be aware that Nepal is one of the highly vulnerable to climate change aspects. And climate change has already having lots of impact on us. And for example, natural hazards, drought, heat waves, river flooding, glacial lake outburst, such incidents has been intense in recent years. And this is further added to our vulnerable topography, vulnerable socioeconomic condition as well. So another thing is Nepal's economic development sector, GDP contributing sectors are highly susceptible to climate. So we have direct and high impact on those area as well. To address such impacts, Nepal government at all levels, so federal government, provincial government, and local government, together with development partners working in Nepal, have been implementing several climate change adaptation and resilience program across different countries. And Nepal climate change support program is one of them, uh, being implemented in rural part, western Nepal of western part of the country. So this program is supported by UK FCDO, is steered by Ministry of Forest and Environment. This is federal ministry, and implemented by provincial Ministry of Forest and Environment, as well as local government. So 35 municipalities have been implementing, and Mott MacDonald is providing technical assistance to government implementation. So basically, this locally led adaptation approach is very important for country like ours. When I say country like ours, we are very vulnerable to impact of climate change. Uh, Aided by rural poverty, marginalization, etc. So the approach of locally led adaptation recognize the value of local knowledge and expertise to address climate change. It also ensures that local actors in the front line climate change have equitable access to power and resources to build resilience. So as per these publications, our approach, our interventions are being implemented in Nepal, which we are taking you through in this presentation. So as part of providing a little bit of background, how we are implementing the project, this is kind of brief background I would like to take you through. So as I highlighted, Nepal Climate Change Support Program is government of Nepal flagship program on adaptation and resilience. It is implemented by local government themselves. They select the schemes, they design the schemes, they implement the schemes that is guided by locally led principles, and it considers community resilience, institutional resilience, and service resilience in general. And the program has already been implemented for last 5 years. The budget goes through, government treasury. So what we are doing is providing technical assistance, but the fund flow or the program steering is mainly, led by government and government system itself. And we through the project, we target 600,000 population, vulnerable population, to benefit. So the main objective of the project is in building resilience through by implementing program climate change support program effectively, efficiently, and economically. And while implementing these climate change support program, we also provide support to local government to ensure transparent and accountable implementation process through fiduciary risk mitigation measures, and building capacity and system strengthening at local level, so that even beyond the project, local government are able to implement such locally led adaptation, absorb more climate finance, and steer more resilient, inclusive, and sustainable development at the local level. So in terms of structure, we have some federal government level steering committees for the project to steer, but mainly it is led by local government and local, communities. who are supported and steered by federal government through policy, guidelines, and technical support, as well as part of providing technical assistance, FCDO, finance technical assistance component to provide technical guidelines for quality and timely completion of project, which is like project delivery. At the same time, to support system building at the local level. So now I will take you through what are the methodologies and approach of the project that are underpinned by locally led adaptation principles. So the first approach is local government and community leaders for project selection and implementation. As I highlighted during the background, it is very important to note that local government and community are on a driver's seat. They are uh, leading the project selection and implementation process. So as part of project implementation, we help local government to select climate adaptation and resilient activities, project schemes and interventions. And while saying so, I would like to highlight 4 areas of project intervention. The first one is about drinking water source protection and provision of drinking water supply to rural community, vulnerable community. Second one is part of building and supporting their climate resilient and sustainable livelihood. The project support climate smart agriculture process and practice at the local level. Then the third one is supporting disaster risk mitigation reduction for resilience. So flood control, landslide control, slope stabilization, soil erosion control mechanisms are some of the other area that Nepal Climate Change Support Program are helping to implement at the local level. Besides this one, based on the need and demand of local government and communities, this project also helped to implement clean energy, renewable energy program, watershed management plan, and some other construction for resilient and sustainable supply chain at the local level is part of generating their livelihood and services to the local people. If you see the diagram here, you can see we follow and implement number of process in order to ensure that it is locally led, locally owned, and locally sustained interventions. For example, local adaptation plan of action, which LAPA in short. The LAPA, as part of project support, local government adopt LAPA, and through LAPA they also select project and adaptation schemes. And these LAPA project and LAPA document are in line with local government periodic plan. So local government periodic plan incorporates LAPA documents and climate change adaptation. Based on that one, local government in consultation with community select the adaptation schemes and projects to implement in a given fiscal year. So this is also what we call is uh, local planning process, 7-step planning process. So local government are provisioned to select their annual development program and projects through the 7-step planning process, which includes consultation with community, collecting their need and demand for services, etc. So through this 7-step planning process, local government select these climate change adaptation and LAPA project. And once they select it, and then we support them to carry out technical survey and feasibility study, which also includes socioeconomic survey of each scheme. So each scheme selected by local government has to go through these feasibility study to assess whether they are feasible, whether they have potential to contribute for the resilience of community, and whether they are resilient itself. So these things are assessed, and based on that, a detailed project report is designed, and then based on this detailed project report, palika or local government review and recommends the implementation. So here some of the project can be dropped off in the process if some projects which do not have the potential to contribute for resilience of community, which are not considered as resilient in community infrastructures, then after the feasibility survey and based on the findings, these schemes are dropped off, and then the finally selected projects come up with RRL, review and recommendation log, and then local government start implementing it. And when they start implementing it, they normally mobilize and utilize community users group to ensure that community are involved. And the community users group comprises of the beneficiaries. So they are fully engaged and participated in the process. So they are not only beneficiaries of the project, but they are also decision maker of project implementation, selection, implementation, and monitoring as well, to ensure that one Nepal climate change support program through a local government works with community, and the local government together with community participation users committee, they implement the project, and they also carry out quality assurance and quality control mechanism. So we have established several tools, MIS systems, to ensure proper quality and timely completion. So those information data are entered or collected in MIS system, and that is helping the program to track the progress and to ensure the quality implementation, which we are going to present in the second part of this presentation. So yeah, ongoing construction monitoring and supervision. We should not forget that Nepal climate change program mainly, support local infrastructure, community infrastructure. That's why we use construction monitoring and supervision in here. So after this, physical completion of project is ensured, and then Palika makes efforts and endeavor for public asset management and maintain the operation and maintenance fund to ensure functionality and sustainability of such adaptation and resilient climate resilient community infrastructure at the local level. So they also collect learnings, and then we work together with Palika to reflect and scale up those success in other part of the country as well. So while implementing these step and process, we ensure that climate data, climate profile, and hazard atlas are informing such process. Basically, what I'm trying to say here is such climate data and information informs the local government selection, implementation, and monitoring of climate change process, interventions, and projects. And also, while delivering the project, we also help local government. We also work with all level of governments to strengthen systems and mainstreaming climate change adaptation at the local level, so which are very very crucial. So in this process, we can clearly see that one area of project is project delivery, implementation of climate change adaptation and resilient project. At the same time, system strengthening, institution building, and climate change adaptation mainstreaming at the local level. And while doing so, we are also very mindful in terms of gender and social inclusion, as well as leave no one behind. And as locally led adaptation principle suggests that it should be equitable and just approach. And Nepal Climate Change Support Program fully includes those aspects while implementing the projects. Second approach we are adopting is locally led adaptation for resilient. This is ensured through the mainstreaming and LAPA process in general. So we have national level climate goal target set by federal government, and then they are reflected into our commitment in international climate uh, targets, climate conventions, and climate results, which are also reflected at National Adaptation Plan, LAPA framework, and other Nepal government climate commitment. And as part of project, these in climate commitment expressed by Nepal government through ratification or exceeding international climate conference, conventions, or through national development goals are then localized at the local government level. And as part of this locally led adaptation process are mainstreamed, that is being supported by the projects. And local government are also supported to mainstreaming climate change into periodic plan process and select service related community infrastructures to implement and generate inclusive and resilient services to the most vulnerable and poor community in rural part of the country. So doing this one, we are making efforts for transformational change towards climate change adaptation and resilience. And three level of resilience: institutional resilience, community resilience, and resilience of services are ensured and promoted through the project. Another approach adopted by the project is technical assistance for local capacity. So local government, our federal government structure is not very old. It's very new in a way. So our local government, they have full willingness, they have full zeal. However, they lack capacity. They have uh, less understanding on climate change and impact. So providing technical assistance, meaning supporting their capacity, supporting their institution building, and supporting system strengthening at the local level. So the technical assistance is, as I highlighted earlier, we provide for project delivery, we provide for system building, and together this is reflected in system and institution building, community resilience through effective project delivery. So that's the TA approach that Nepal Climate Change Support Program is adopting and implementing. So the fourth area is suggested by one of the locally led adaptation principles, transparency and accountable mechanism. So we have fully adopted this approach into our programming and implementation. So if you see this slide, we have public finance management, climate finance management, and public finance management assurance activities to ensure the implementation of public finance, the grant from federal government to local government are implemented in transparent and accountable manner. So we provide support for risk identification by Palika, and we keep on monitoring and providing oversight. And then we support for transparent and accountable procurement process at the local level and facilitate Palika and Ministry of Forest and Environment for financial management report process. And also is part of supporting fiduciary risk mitigation. We also carry out expenditure verification, spot check whether those climate finance allocated to local government are utilized and implemented in transparent manner or not, whether these finance are supporting to the objective of climate change adaptation or not. That's the kind of assessment we carry out. And also that system is mainstreaming into local level, so that in future local government are capable enough to receive and absorb more climate finance at the local level, supporting resilient and sustainable development practice in the country. So the last approach I would like to highlight here is gender and leave no one behind approach. So JC and LNOB is one of our cross-cutting issue of the project, and as locally led adaptation principles suggest, this is fully embedded or integrated into designing and implementation. We make endeavor to mainstream JC interventions during implementation, during design, during selection, and during monitoring and reporting as well. So we collect disaggregated data related to JC, marginalized community, and project benefit among them. So another one is not only project specific interventions, but also we make efforts to mainstream this approach and this concept at the local level, in the policy, in local government plan. So it is not like local government should not be considering that this is a project approach, but rather this is an approach for inclusive and resilient development practice, so that they are also informed, they are also willing to mainstreaming this to ensure the inclusive outcomes, social outcomes of climate change adaptation programming. And we are also very mindful, and we work with local government to ensure safeguarding. And the country like Nepal, we can have safeguarding violation at the local level is part of traditional marginalization practice or value system. So in order to avoid such violation, we put into practice the safeguarding provision. We inform community, we inform local government, we produce IC materials for their knowledge and practices, and these are well reflected into interventions approach. So this is also kind of capacity building approach. This is also one approach for inclusive outcome through climate change adaptation. So these are all these approaches are underpinned by locally led adaptation principles. Um, and further to elaborate that point, now I will take you through our interventions and results, which I'm presenting in line with the principle of locally led adaptation. So in the presentation on the top, you can see each LLA principles, and then what are the outcomes of Nepal climate change support program in line with respective principles, and then what are the interventions that have been implemented. And this we are presenting as an example learning from Nepal climate change support program, but we think these are good learnings for other developing countries and communities to scale up, to implement that approach in other developing communities as well. So let me take you through principle by principle. So the first principle is about devolving decision making to lowest appropriate level. So this principle is reflected in our outcomes of local government led implementation process. Another one is how local adaptation plan of actions and climate change adaptation practices are mainstreaming into local periodic plan, annual and other periodic plan of local government, and how the communities, local communities are participating and engaging into the project selection, implementation, and sharing benefits. So it is more of, giving authority, giving power, and giving leadership and ownership to local institutions and communities. So to verify this one, you can also see some of the interventions that NCCSP implemented. So this program is implemented into 42 municipalities, and we have implemented 412 small community infrastructures to generate inclusive and resilient services to people, rural people. And these schemes were selected and implemented by local government and local community themselves. So this is how we give authority, power, ownership, and steering to local government through the program. And it is well reflected in their policy and future development trajectory, that climate change adaptation approach are well reflected at lowest level of the governance in Nepal. Second principle is about it, addressing structural inequalities, which for NCCSP project, we consider it like social outcomes. To achieve social outcome from climate adaptation interventions, we ensure that JC and LNOB consideration are mainstreamed, inclusive services are generated, and climate just is ensured by sharing equitable benefit to all. So for us, community infrastructure is not the aim, but it's means to generate inclusive and resilient service to all. And we are promoting equitable and inclusive benefit to all, targeting mainly to marginalized and vulnerable community in rural part of the country. You can see as part of intervention, we increase participation and engagement of women and marginalized community. So far, our data shows that 50% of women are engaged in users committee for selection and implementation monitoring of climate adaptation intervention at the local level. We have produced JC and LNOB strategy and shared with Palikas. We also are underpinned by Ministry JC and Adaptation strategy, which is shared across all local government. And these are some of the steering document, strategic document for Palika to ensure most marginalized and vulnerable group are benefited through the project. And disaggregated data are monitored, are documented, are monitored and reported. So 50% of the beneficiaries are from marginalized and vulnerable communities. And this MIS we are taking you through later in the second part of the presentation. Third principle is ensuring predictable funding that can be assessed more easily. So as part of supporting or implementing or following this principle, the project uh, has achieved enhanced capacity of local government to utilize more funds for climate actions, including climate actions, including climate finance. As I highlighted in approach 4 earlier, you could see that our climate finance approach, supporting to public finance management, supporting to decrease fiduciary risks. The Palika has built their capacity and capabilities to design and implement climate adaptation activities by utilizing climate finance. So whether it is like from development partners grant or through federal government, they have built their capacity. They still have to go long way in terms of fully equipped, but they have started the process. They are learning and they are reflecting, and these things are well reflected in their policy, planning, and programs as well. So overall public finance management fund flow system in the country, these process, procedures, and guidelines have been strengthened. As I highlighted, this project is a flagship program of government, and the fund, this conditional climate conditional fund, flows from central federal government to local government, and is part of strengthening that fund flow mechanism. We work with all level of government in terms of timely release, in terms of uh, timely implementation, in terms of timely reporting, and properly maintaining the documents for transparent fund management. And that help has significantly increased local government capacity to utilize climate finance today and in future. Increased volume of public finance is at municipality level as well. So we have been working with federal government and provincial government and local government as well to increase climate finance portion, whether it be in conditional grant or as a condition, as a criteria in equalization grant that goes through federal government to local government as well. So those efforts are being made is part of our public finance management support program, fiduciary risk assessment and mitigation interventions, and as part of the facilitation to Palika and Ministry for Financial Management and reimbursement process as well. So another principle is investing in local capacity to leave institutional legacy. So while doing so, the program, local government and federal government are working together and also with external stakeholders to enhance capacity of local government for overall climate change program. And TA for locally led adaptation through resilience. So what I highlighted and what I would like to remind here is the technical assistance that's for leaving the institutional legacy on climate change adaptation. It is to ensure that local government are fully ready, capable, or have the capacity to design, implement, and monitor climate change adaptation activities. So that's how we are supporting. And you can see some of the example of intervention here. We help climate integration into community infrastructure. We help them to design, implement resilient infrastructure, from the selection to the monitoring and sustaining, uh, and the projects support local government to mainstream climate change into their sectoral plan as well. For example, village education plan of Palikas have now incorporated climate change, even curriculum of some grade in rural municipalities have integrated climate knowledge chapters to inform children, the students, so that they are understanding the context. They will be able to reflect this into future engagement as well. So that's how we help institutions and help to create institutional legacy. So when when I said institutional resilience, this is where we are achieving our outcomes, and this is where we are making our efforts. Another principles is building a robust understanding of climate risks and uncertainties. So this is very important for the country like ours. The people, though they are having significant impact on of climate change on their life and livelihood, they are not informed, they are not aware about the climate change impact on them. They are facing it, but they are not informed, and they are not ready to adopt and implement coping strategy. And that's why it is very important that local communities, local government, local institutions are fully informed about climate change, its impact on them, and how they can be prepared, how they can strengthen their coping capacity to be resilient against the climate change impact. And this is what Nepal Climate Change Support Program is doing. We help build local awareness, capacity at the community level, as well as we help local government to generate and use climate data and profile and utilize those data, hazard map, and climate information into local plan and program. It is very important that we do not only support to collect and to document such data and information. This data information has to be transported, has to be translated into local plan and program. Otherwise this data will not mainstream into local planning process. So it comes from robust understanding. So at community level as well as at institutional local institution level, we are making efforts and we are achieving these outcomes. For example, we have supported all Palika through training and orientation. We develop climate brochures, calendar publications, and disseminate through ministries and Palikas. We help local government and provincial government to prepare hazard maps based on climate data. We help to produce climate profiles based on Department of Hydro and Meteorological data, and LAPA documents are prepared, and these documents, data and information are mainstream at the local level, are being reflected into their plan and processes, so that the climate change data, climate change information are informing local plan, policies, and program. Flexible program, yes, definitely. Our program is very flexible, and I would like to also appreciate our client, our funding agency, FCDO, UK government, because their approach in supporting climate change program is very flexible. So it is based on locally led or steered or demand as per local demand. Whether the need or demand comes from community and local government in consultation with community, such projects and interventions are supported by our program. So, as an example, during COVID time, we completely adopted resilient livelihood and economic activities, because that time it was the need of the day, that local vulnerable people, marginalized people were supported through resilient livelihood to generate local economy and livelihood. So we rather than focusing community infrastructure during COVID time, we supported livelihood and economic activities that time. So you can already see the flexibility nature of our projects. So adaptation, intervention, and community infrastructures are also based on, not through guided by federal government or any other agency, but they are guided or need expressed or need identified by community and local institutions. So they are very need based, and community, uh, identifications. So we also consider resilient infrastructures are not the end, but means for inclusive and resilient service. So in terms of generating inclusive and resilient service, our intervention can flex. But the outcome should be inclusive and resilient to ensure just and equitable social outcome for poor and vulnerable people. And then principle 7, transparent and accountability. Definitely local government, while implementing climate finance, climate project, the transparency and accountability, or in general project governance, should be promoted, should be ensured. And to ensure that outcome, we are supporting through fiduciary risk mitigation approach. uh, and in terms of local government capacity to absorb climate finance, if I take an example from last fiscal year, last Nepali fiscal year, 90%, 96% of the total allocated budget from this project was absorbed, was implemented by local government, ensuring transparency and accountability. When I say transparent, ensure transparency and accountability, I want to link what I said earlier, that we also carry out verification, expenditure verification, and spot check. Through this, it was identified that 96% of the expenditure were committed transparently. So it also the help, the financial public finance management or climate finance support to local government has increased capabilities and readiness of local government to utilize more climate finance at the local level. You can go through this one. The record of this presentation will be available, and this slide will be available. So because of time interest, I will not go through each and individual interventions now. So moving further, the last locally led adaptation principle, collaborative approach, collaborative actions and investment. So Nepal Climate Change Support Program has federal agencies, provincial agencies and local agencies, where government agencies, development partners, non-government agencies working in climate change are coming together, are discussing about the project approach, and providing way forward for more innovation and the resilience and building sustainability of the program as well. So from that perspective, we always work in collaboration and cooperation with such stakeholders and actors. So in climate change, you cannot work alone. We have to be working in collaborative approach to bring and ensure synergetic impact. And Nepal Climate Change Support Program is working on that approach. So the provincial government is particularly supported by us. Local government are supported by us, and we have collaboration with federal ministries as well. At the provincial government, provincial coordination committee on climate change, this institution, this platform is further strengthened to establish collaboration and cooperation. Similarly, provincial level climate MIS system data portal are strengthened with integrating climate data and climate information. Now they are accessible to everyone, local government. And we are also building capacity of provincial ministry to be able to provide technical assistance or technical backstepping to local government under their jurisdictions as well. And then besides this one, three level of the collaboration, both horizontal as well as vertical collaborations for climate finance, for climate project governance, for synergetic effect on climate outcomes. So those area are also being supported by us. So moving further, so we will take you through the monitoring of the projects, locally led adaptation interventions. And this part, my colleague Shiris will highlight. And here, before I hand over it to him, just a couple of points to note, that we have been thoroughly documenting and tracking locally led adaptation interventions, project interventions through MIS systems. And this is very, very important to keep on tracking, monitoring, and reporting locally led adaptation process, so that they are on track, they are producing the expected results, they are contributing to for the resilience of local community, to ensure such outcomes, to ensure such results as underpinned by locally led adaptation principles. We have to keep on monitoring, tracking, and reporting such activities. So in terms of our approach and our activities, how we are monitoring those interventions, my colleague Shiris Adhikari will take you through this MIS part. So Shiris ji, over to you.
Thank you, Kiran sir. Good morning. Good afternoon, everyone. Let me put my video on. This is Shiri Sadikari. I'm working with MOT as an senior climate water expert. Uh, so, as Kiran sir already brought through you all the parts of LLA approach, then I will just highlight the how we have been capturing the data based on the climate change local led adaptations interventions. So let me share my screen. Window, window, page. Window. Just a moment. Windows भन्ने गर्ने. Share. Right?
Yes, I can see your screen.
It's there now.
Yes, it's there.
Okay, so
Go to the slide. Yes.
okay. So these are the areas where how where I will bring you through the interventions, that how we capture the data based on our locally led adaptation interventions. So what we have captured, like what are the data required, what are the technology of selection, what sort of software we used, and how we have been capturing and visualizing the field data, and what are the surveys we took, and how we analyze the data for reporting purpose. For your information, this is for the project level MIS. Thank you. So next slide. Uh, the software we use, it's a free web-based software. We call it Solstice. So based on the attributes and the parameters available, we have customized ourselves based on our requirements. So the Solstice, why we use this Solstice as a decision making tools, there are 8 areas how why we have chosen this. So this, I as I have to explain you earlier, that it's open source for and free. The data security is managed by Amazon. It's 99% of 99.9% of data security. So as another beauty of this part, this software is it can be translated to multi-language. So recently they have I mean uh, started translating to Vietnamese, Nepal is there, English is there, Hindi and Bengali. A lot of languages we can customize the data, as per our requirement. So the best thing is that, based on the remote settings, we can collect the data in offline as well. And we can collaborate of multiple organizations, upload data from the previous projects. If you have other projects, we can it allows you to offload or migrate the data from other software as well. And then at the same time, to have sort of data validation and data quality part of it, we can edit the data and approval capabilities there, and the recording assessment. So these are the areas why what is the how the Solisys is functioning. So for us, how we have been using this for the field data capture and visualization. As I have mentioned earlier, that we have designed the database based on our requirements. For us, like, we had been collecting the data requirement, like, the beneficiaries, type of interventions, and then and the areas where the geographical information, like what are the particular area that our intervention is located, or we have where intervene, no. So based on that, we have created and besides that, we use this as to prepare our locally led adaptation interventions, like, that to prepare the detailed project reports. And for this, at the same time, we use this software to do live monitoring, that, or I should say, to carry out remote monitoring, because we work in a very remote settings, especially the province where we are focusing in. It's a Karnali province. It's very remote and very vulnerable to climate. So these allow you to have, such a visual or remote monitoring, how the interventions are going on, what are the qualities, what are the areas where the improvements required, and those sort of things we can do from our desk as well. So first we design the software, we deploy it, we collect the data, visualize and produce reports. No, so these are the three steps that we four steps that no, five steps we have been using the software. So as I mentioned earlier, that there are six areas why we design the software. As I mentioned earlier, it's a free web-based software based on our data requirements, our reporting systems. We have customized it. So there are six areas how we customized, or how we where we focus to make this to fully utilize this database. First is, like, as Kiran sir mentioned earlier, that we use this as a cert listing. That's just to how we cert list our intervention. Like, we have constructed 412 schemes. What are the types of schemes? And there are a lot of criteria we have set. Then then we got with the scores that, whether they are vulnerable to climate, or household vulnerability, and then community vulnerability. Those sort of things we can set. We can uh, categorize the data and collect the information. Based on that, we do some sort of calculation, and it gives you a vivid picture that where are the areas we need to intervene. So it provides you overview of shortlisting, what sort of schemes or intervention we have shortlisted. Another one is that, that I have mentioned earlier, that just to locate that GPS topography survey. If you have sort of it allows you to capture georeferencing points of the intervention. So it automatically prepare. We can customize to prepare a map that allows you to have a clear, vivid pictures that where are the interventions, in what area, what particular. I mean the local government, local, we call it palika, local level government. So another one is, we use this as to prepare our detailed project reports. So like, it includes of design and estimates, and all the required climatical data, and it gives you a complete, you can prepare a complete report of detailed project report. So and another best part of is that, just to monitor the scheme progress, we call it LAPA progress. It's a local adaptation plan of action based. That's a guiding principles for how we should intervene, the interventions aligning with the climate vulnerability. No, so based on the that we we track the progress, what are the progress of the schemes, how many, and we can track the progress based on the beneficiaries, or with the segregate data, with gender or ethnic communities and those sort of things, and fifth one is, based on that, we used to produce, we have adapted this to produce a completion report. So it gives a complete, whenever the schemes get completed or the intervention get completed, we will have a complete, complete, we will have a completion report. So, and at the end, last point is, we use that as a sustainability after completing also. We used to have a sustainable assessment survey, I should say. It's a post construction survey that, so it gives you that, and as a vivid pictures that how the interventions are, I mean, how I mean, how they are functioning well or not, and what are the areas we need to, that requires, I mean, repair and maintenance, those sort of things. And just to bring you through the dashboards, based on the data, survey data we design, and then it allows us to create a dashboards. You can see these dashboards. It's a summary. You can see that there are few tabs, and at the top, like, summary, beneficiaries, construction progress, supervision, quality assurance, safeguarding, health and safety, and those sort of. So it gives you clear pictures. There are some provisions at the top that we can filter it by province or districts or local level governments. We call it palika. So, and then it gives you how many schemes have been, I mean, total schemes, what are the status of detailed project report, how many detailed project report finalized, and how many UCs are there, and how are they registered or not, and those sort of things. Next one is data analysis and reporting. As you can see that, it gives you the status of the our interventions by province, by districts, and at the local level we call it palika. So next one is, that you can see at the right, it gives you different types of intervention, that, how many, for examples, what sort of intervention we implemented, and what are the numbers of the interventions, and what are the types as well. The left one, and then on the right side, that map of the scheme, as I mentioned earlier, there are some legend at the bottom, that if you zoom in or zoom out, then it will allows you that where is our intervention, where they are located, what part of the the georeferencing. So it if somebody like, that for the outsider, or for especially for us, the Ministry of Forest and Environment is a lead ministry. So and as an FCDO, as a donor, they can easily sit at the desk, and visualize that what are the intervention, how far are we the progress, how we are progressing, and what sort of intervention we are doing. So it's that, so it sort of it allows the different level of client, donor, and ourselves, to monitor the progress. So with the georeferencing progress and this sort of things. And the scheme progress tracker, as I mentioned earlier, that you can see that what is the status of the scheme progress, what are the how many are the beneficiaries, what are the target population, and what are the direct beneficiaries benefit from these schemes, and those sort of things. And this is also, it gives you, that direct way, how many, you can see the target and risk. We always have a target at the top, and then it gives you, allows us that whether we reached our target or not, and then, and the graph, it shows that with the time difference, how we are progressing with the target. And this is the data analysis reporting. This is direct beneficiary by gender, direct beneficiary household by caste, and at the bottom, that it allows you then to have a segregated data of this number of percentage of displaced households, number of percentage of regular, no regular cash income, and then disability, elderly without support, single female head household, those socioeconomic data. And data analysis and reporting, as we have been using that as an uh, to monitor our VFM as well, in terms of equity, equality, economic, and effectiveness. So it gives you a clear picture that what are the total scheme cost for, if you, for the water supply or irrigation, that's an average cost. And project cost sharing, because we have a lot of stakeholders, like that we 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 as a project government uh, funds the projects, and then our palika local government, they had matching funds, and then community also contribute some part of it. So the graph, the pie, I mean the pie chart at the right, it gives you a clear picture that how many percentage of the total cost have been contributed by other stakeholders as well. So then supervision quality assurance, it gives you that uh, what is the status of the quality of the schemes or intervention we intervene, very high, satisfactory, or red, low. So if it's very low, we can simply click it in the system, then it will drive you up to uh, the schemes where we required, quality improvement. Yeah. And these are the few snapshot photographs that from our intervention. Some water supplies and source improvement, embankment, irrigation canal, livelihood activities. Thank you very much. This is the uh, end of my presentation. Any questions? So anything? Then Kiran sir and myself will be happy to address it. Thank you very much. Thank you for your time. Sorry, mute मा हुनुहुन्छ हजुर.
Thank you, Shirishji, and thank you everyone for participating this. As to conclude this discussion, the presentation, I would like to again mention that local communities are really on the front line of climate change impacts. However, they are not fully equipped and informed in terms of taking measures, in terms of getting resource, in terms of their participation in decision making. So this kind of locally led projects program, which are underpinned by locally led principles, are very useful and important to ensure community resilience through their capacity, through their institution building, through their knowledge and skill building, and through strengthening their coping capacity. So this is experience from Nepal. And now, as per our session, as per our presentation, now we would like to go to question answer. If anyone from the current attendees, if you have any questions, we will be happy to respond. Otherwise, you can also put this in chat box. We can maybe respond later as well. So thank you again, everyone, for listening us. It's great to have presented this session. So I again would like to thank to the organizer of this conference. Thank you. So far, we couldn't see questions coming from chat. So if there is no questions, maybe we... Okay, let's wait another 1 minute and then we can close the presentation. For for Torin or anyone from the organizer, if you have any note here, please feel free to add while we are waiting any questions from the audience.
So I can't see any questions or any hand raised. So I want to request from the participants, if you want, you can raise your hand and we can provide you the access to talk and you can add your question. And before we do that, I would request my speakers, if it's possible for us to, you can have a screenshot. So, Mr.
Sure.
Sirish, is it possible if you could turn on your camera, we can have a screenshot.
Yeah, okay, sure.
There is one question from Nafis that how can we apply climate science and climate knowledge into LLA?
Right. You would like to go first,
No,
Shirishji, or
no,
yeah, or no?
uh, can go, then I'll add it.
Yeah. Okay. Great. I think that's very important question. Thank you so much. Definitely, we have. I mean, climate science. Climate is also is scientific fact, data. However, this climate science and data should be produced and interpreted and used to produce climate knowledge at the local level. What we presented earlier is that the data, the information, the science-based fact and figure should be interpreted and livelihood. For example, if we just produce climate data, hazard maps, or climate profile, maybe this means nothing for local government. This means nothing for local community. But when you make interpretation of it, how climate data or modeling or profile are showing the climate change impact, how we are facing that. So if you have that kind of interpretation, and then it will build local knowledge, it will build it will help to mainstreaming into local level, and then the planning program budget can underpinned by such data and information. So I should highlight here that there is always scientific part, but this scientific part has to develop, interpreted, and utilize to generate local knowledge, to link with knowledge so that it is usable rather than just data in somewhere else. But it should link with local understanding, local lives and livelihood. That's what I would like to highlight. Second thing is, like, climate change is something in terms of adapting climate change impact. People at community level should have understanding and knowledge how climate change impacts in their lives and livelihood. Unless and until this knowledge is not there, local community are not informed, are not willing to adapt, to start adaptation process or to strengthen their coping capacity. So it has to be translated into very easily understanding and kind of knowledge tools for local people to adapt and practice adaptation interventions and coping capacity and strategy. So Shirishi, if you have anything to add here, but thank you so much for the question.
Nothing to add, sir. That we have covered all, like how we have been using climate science data to interpret, into translate it at local level. As you have mentioned that that we had prepared hazard atlases that covers all the landslide and the flood area. We have modeled that, and then we had translated interpreted those data at local levels to make more, I mean, to give them a vivid picture that how their areas are vulnerable to those sort of things. And besides that, as I mentioned earlier, that we had prepared, we call it climate profile. We had analyzed of data provided by our Department of Hydrology and Meteorology for precipitation, river flow, and temperature. Then we have modeled based on the shared socioeconomic pathway. It gives you the clear position how the temperature trend or precipitation trend look like near future, mid future, or far future. That's up to 2100. So and based on that, it provides the local level peoples that how the trend, how the temperature look like, what sort of coping strategies they need to have, what sort of climate smart sort of agriculture interventions they need to carry. So in those sort of things, it's not, we prepared those sort of data for not our only for our projects, to use them in a longer run. Though it's dino, and besides that, we are in process of, I mean, uh, incorporating or embedding or overlaying those data into our government, our national government portal. We call it BPAT portal, that is managed by Nepal National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Authority. So and it is open source, so everybody can use those data for in a longer run, for, or we call it that, for evidence based planning and those sort of things. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you. Okay, no more question. So great. So Torin, are we fine if we close the session now? Because I can see no questions further.
Yes, so if you want to actually conclude the session, it would be great to have a screenshot. Yeah, I'm taking the screenshot. You just turn on your camera. That will be great.
Okay.
Yeah, Shiriji, can you open? Yeah, thank you.
Done. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the presentation.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Fatin, for organizing such a great global conference, and my best wishes for remaining part of the conference as well.
Thank you so much.
Thank you all. Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you.